So last night I made a 2-3 minute video for Instagram going around follow-ups and the follow process for online coaches and what we used to do. I do just want to go a little bit more in depth though and cover the nuance and the different scenarios that you might find yourself in, and whether you want to do as many as us or you want to do some less, or just the overarching breakdown of the whole follow-up process and sequence, and a few more that I didn't cover on that video. So I just want to be black and white. The more follow-ups that you do, the more money that you'll make, within reason, obviously. Um, if we didn't do follow-ups in our fitness business, we would have lost a lot of fucking money. Let's just put it that way. I told the story last night on the Instagram video about the lady in New York that we followed up with like 7 fucking times. She came back on the 7th message, thanked us for the accountability, booked on a call, and then paid $2,500 for a 4-month fitness program, which is cool. And that's just one scenario. I actually had a VA, Mike, absolute G. Mike, if you're watching this, you're a G. Who basically his only job at one point was just to do as many follow-ups as possible. And he was doing between like 300 to 500 every single fucking day, depending on the volume of leads that we had coming in. So it's that important. It's that important that like that was Mike's main task. He'd done a few things around that, like starting conversations, etc., and that, but that was his main thing. Because if we didn't do that, we would have lost a lot of fucking money. So let's run through the follow-up script and let's talk about the nuance then. So I have 2 hard and fast rules when it comes to follow-ups. Number 1 is just making it easy for the person who's going to do it. If it's you, an appointment setter, or a VA, the last thing you want to do is have to go like fucking scrolling back and back and back. Like, just use the built-in feature inside Instagram that flags conversations. As soon as somebody comes in, we send a welcome message, they get flagged. If we've reached the end of the follow-up sequence, we unflag them. Dead simple. It just basically makes your job easy. It makes the appointment setter's job easy as well. If you don't know where this is, inside Instagram, when you're in a message to somebody, go to the top right, click on the tag, and then you can flag it. There's a bunch of other options as well, but we always flag every single conversation. The second rule is then just have a time frame. So with ours, we used to do between the 16 to 24-hour mark. So if somebody got to the 16 to 24-hour mark and they hadn't replied, we hadn't received a response from them, we'd send a follow-up. Dead simple. Now, the first 2 messages are what I call a nudge. They're not super in-depth. There's not a lot of psychology behind it. It is purely just, hey, like, are you there? Like, did you forget about us? People forget to reply, they open a message, and then they get distracted, or they get busy, they try and leave it off, but it's just a light little nudge. 2 examples here are name, question mark, or still with me name. Something along those lines. It just gives them a chance to be like, oh, sorry, didn't say this, or sorry, this just escaped my mind, I got sidetracked, etc. Message number 3 is quite lighthearted. Now, this is something silly, and we used to send a meme, and I was talking about this last night, that I created, where it was a SpongeBob meme. He was like looking through the the sort of window saying like, this is you reading my message and not responding. And that used to have a really good fucking response rate, but sending that was a little bit of a chore. This was a little bit quicker. So we used to run with, haven't been abducted by aliens, have you? Or you could run with like, haven't been eaten by a crocodile, have you? Or just something lighthearted that somebody can go like, cool, like the guy's not a dick, let me just respond to this. Message number 4 then is what I call the nice guy approach. Now, the nice guy approach is basically just checking if you're getting these messages. I know Instagram can act weird sometimes and messages get lost. That's kind of giving them a backdoor exit. We both know that the message hasn't gotten lost and Instagram's not acting weird most of the time, and they're just fucking ignoring you. So this just gives them a chance to be like, oh yeah, sorry, Instagram was acting weird, or sorry, I did get lost, let me get back to you. Again, it's just a backdoor for them. It's like, hey, like, before this gets a little bit awkward, like, do we want to just blame it on Instagram? And a lot of the time that gets a response. Message number 5 is a little bit more upfront, because if we give a light nudge, we give a light-hearted message, and we've also given them like a nice guy backdoor exit here, and they're not taking any of them, maybe we just need to be a little bit more upfront. Now, this message here, depending on your character, can be a lot more upfront, or can be something along the lines of this, which is, I've reached out a few times now, but haven't heard back from you. Where should we go from here? Um, at one point, this was a lot more fun for us. I think it was something along the lines of guess and then insert goals isn't a priority for you right now, question mark. And again, depending on the character, depending on sort of the content that you make and the persona that you want to put across and that you are putting across, maybe that fits with you, maybe it doesn't. But again, that would get a really good response rate. Some people be butthurt by it, but we tend to lean on this one because what this does is it sort of gives that reciprocity of like, well, I've reached out a few times and I haven't heard back from you. I'm not being annoyed about it, but like, where should we go from here? It's kind of like, I ain't going to chase you much longer. I'm not really that bothered, but like, I've reached out a few times. It kind of puts the ball in their side of the court, but at the same time, just gives them the option of saying like, yeah, I'm busy right now, or not a priority, or actually, sorry, let's just pick it up where we left off. Message number 6 then is just leading with value. There's no point in sending like a really dick message, especially when we're coming for a follow-up sequence, because you're just killing that lead, and then there's no chance that they're ever going to fucking work with you. So we'd always end on value, and it's something along the lines of, guess you might have a lot going on right now, no stress at all, I'll start following up. I'll drop some free value below for you, mate. Hopefully that'll help you move in the right direction, and then we'd send the link across. From all of these, apart from obviously like the first 1 or 2, because that would have the highest response rate, the next one with the highest response rate was this, because this is essentially putting you at the high ground. You reached out a few times to them. You haven't been a total bellend about it. You've been quite nice about it. They've totally fucking ignored you. Probably read every single message and not replied. Probably viewing your fucking stories as well. And you've still decided to go and send them some free stuff, regardless of all that. So that puts you in a morally good place and seen as like the nice guy. So it's not ending things on a sour note, and yeah, it's leading and ending with value. Now, whether you want to send, and I'm going to get into some other ones in a second, but whether you send 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, it's going to depend on like number 1, the type of clients that you're working with, number 2, like your persona, number 3, like whatever you feel fucking comfortable with. So like, for example, in this business, the mentoring business, I don't send that many follow-ups. So if we think of something like TAM, so total addressable market, this is just like how big the market is that you're going to be going after. The fitness industry is fucking huge. So like, you can bombard people with follow-ups until they reply, get them on a call and sell them, and it's not really going to fucking wreck your reputation. However, if I come ahead and do this in the like the B2B space for fitness coaches, it's a much smaller industry and everybody fucking talks. So if I'm coming in and sending like 20 follow-ups to people, I'm being absolutely fucking bellend about it. Like, Susan's going to talk to Larry, and Larry's going to talk to fucking Tom, and Tom's going to talk to fucking everyone else. So it's like, it's a much smaller industry. So like, you obviously don't want to piss those people off. So like, for example, when I do follow-ups, I tend to leave it for days at this point. So like, I'll really not chase somebody. If they don't want to reply, it's up to them. If they don't reply to like my first follow-up, I just send this last one. And I'm just like, you probably have some things going on right now. Just reach out whenever you're ready. Here's some free stuff. Because again, it's different industries. There's different sort of, to me, hard and fast rules around how much you want to bombard someone. So I think coming from like serving business owners, it's a little bit different to serving the Gen Pop general public. Beyond that, though, you can reach out after this. So realistically, the re-engage messages can go out anywhere between like 1 to 3 months. Just because the leader stops speaking to you doesn't mean that they're never going to speak to you ever again. There are so many people inside BFM that I reached out to, just said like, hey, thanks for the follow. Never replied to me. Maybe I'll jump back in like a week later, try and give them some free stuff. Don't reply to me. And then like 2 months later, they'll drop me a message and be like, oh, I've just been watching all your videos. They're really fucking good. I'm going to jump in. So it's like, if I ruin that relationship in that standpoint, that never happens. You can go back in though at a later period with something like this. Hey mate, wanted to just drop you a message and say how you've been getting on since we last spoke. Like, there's nothing sort of like aggressive to that. It's just like, hey, popped in my head, let me just drop straight back in. Or the second example is, hey Nim, I think the timing might not have been ideal for you the last time that we spoke. Thought I'd just check in and say how you've been getting on with goal. That one is obviously a lot more personal because you've actually inserted the person's goal. Now, there needs to be a certain level of conversation that you've had to obviously understand that. But if you have, it's an absolute killer. The final thing when it comes to follow-ups is just a welcome message follow-up. So a lot of you guys might send a welcome message. Hey, Name, appreciate the follow. Are you looking to work on X, Y, or Z right now? And if they don't respond to that, you're like, well, the lead's dead. They're gone. We can just take a second shot at the dartboard, and this is how I would do it. So if you send that welcome message to somebody, don't respond, it's been 24 hours, you can come back in with, forgot to mention, I give away a lot of free resources each week. I've actually just added a bunch to a folder, meal plans, training programs, nutrition guides, supplement guides, etc. Let me know if any of that would be useful and I can send it over for you. This increased our response rate by 10%. I think it was like 8 to 10% on average. It's, again, like, it's not abrasive, it's leading with value. It's like, you fucking ignored me and I'm still going to give you some free shit. So, like, it puts you on a very high moral standpoint. But at the same time, a lot of the time when we would send this to people, they wouldn't actually acknowledge the free shit or ask for it. They would more or less apologize about ignoring us and then start a conversation, which is mental when you think about it. But that's the low reciprocity. Like, you've went ahead and give somebody something, regardless of them not giving you something, and they feel like they owe you. So that's the welcome follow-up message. If I was you, and you had a bunch of them inside your Instagram, and you're not doing them, and you're lazy as fuck with it, I would hire a VA, pay them like £3 an hour, £3 to £5 an hour, and get them to just do all your follow-ups every single day. Because I guarantee if you start doing follow-ups, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 10, you will make more money. That is just like, that's not even a fucking question. Like, just, if you aren't willing to do it, get somebody else in there. If you are though, what I would do is I would just set a time every single day where you jump in your Instagram, you go to your flagged, and you just bash through all your follow-ups. Now, my group clients and one-to-one clients will already know this, but there is an app called Boards. Now, Boards is an absolute fucking lifesaver, whether you're doing all the messages or your clients are going to do all the messages. Not clients, sorry. VAs or appointment setters. Boards is essentially an app. It's free for like a couple of hundred messages, and then if you're sending more than that in a day, like, you got to upgrade it. But if you're sending more than that in a day, you can probably afford it. I think it's like £7 or £9 a month or something. But it essentially connects to the keyboard on your phone, and rather than you having to like copy and paste things over, like copying this in and pasting it in, you put it into Boards, you press one fucking button, it pings it straight across. So like when Mike would do like 300 to 500 followers, it wouldn't take him very long. Like, obviously it would within reason, but it's like 3 to 5 seconds per message, because he would come in, he would see where the person would be in terms of the follow-up sequence. You'd know it's the next one, he'd press that button, ping. Next person, right, done, ping. Next person, right, done, ping. If you got to fucking type all this out, or you got to come to a Google Doc and copy and paste, it's an absolute ball ache. If you have appointment setters or VAs and you want to get more out of them, just download Boards. It's like $9.99 a month or some shit like that, and yeah, you can basically double their fucking workload. So, but yeah, that's the follow-up sequence. If you're not doing them, I guarantee that you're leaving a lot of cash on the table. Like I say, it doesn't have to be, spammy. You don't have to be like never ending with the fucking follow-ups. It's going to be person dependent, but on top of that, it's going to be client dependent and the type of people that you're speaking to. So, for example, like, we have a lady in the mastermind who deals with ladies that sort of have eating disorders. Now, does she want to go send 10 follow-ups to these ladies that are maybe nervous about reaching out in the first place? Probably not. So she might want to approach this a little bit differently. But that's why I always say, like, this is what we did. There's the template. You don't have to copy it one by one. But yeah, that's it. That's follow-ups. If you know any coach that doesn't do follow-ups and they need to fucking start, then I would appreciate it if you sent this video to them so that they can see how important it is and essentially how we did it as well.